Hi everybody, in this morning video from City Insider, I will bring the latest Manchester City update. We'll start with Pep full praise Jeremy Doku. Pep Guardiola praised a brilliant performance from Jeremy Doku to help Manchester City thrash Ipswich. Doku scored and picked up an assist, his first for Erling Haaland, in a 6-0 thumping win that moves Pep Guardiola's team back into the top four of the Premier League and sees them head to Paris for a crucial Champions League game with some momentum. Having struggled to hold down a place in the starting 11 amid the team's struggles this season, Doku has now put himself firmly in contention to play on Wednesday night. Guardiola still needs more consistency from the player, and feels that the player has concerns over playing multiple games in a week after suffering some muscle injuries in his career, but was pleased with the direction that Doku pointed to against Ipswich. If Savinho is the player that the rest of the wingers have to look to, the Belgian is closer to his Brazilian teammate than he was after Sunday's star performance. I would say the best player so far in the last recent games was Savinho, said Guardiola. Doku played because in training he was good and played really good vs Salford in the FA Cup. He has an incredible quality to dribble. I never say don't dribble, but after that the decision making is not soft or precise enough. He's young, the first control and first actions today was brilliant. Always he has doubts about consistency every 3 days in terms of injuries. The way we played, the final third, dribble one or two ways. The scenario to attack in the final third is different. Today was different. Man City eyeing Douglas Luiz move. Manchester City are considering a January move for Juventus midfielder Douglas Luiz, who had been an Arsenal target in the past. David Ornstein reports for The Athletic that Manchester City are considering whether to add a midfielder to their heavy January recruitment, and one option is Douglas Luiz of Juventus. Luiz was previously on the books for Aston Villa and City themselves, though work permit issues meant he never actually played for City during his first spell. Instead, he spent 2 seasons on loan with Girona. After his move to Villa, Luiz was the subject of plenty of interest from Arsenal. The Gunners made 3 bids for the Brazilian international in 2022, but the deal didn't happen. The player renewed his contract, and everyone moved on. Luiz did eventually leave Villa for Juventus last summer, but he hasn't really settled in. 6 months after his move, the 26-year-old still only has 474 minutes on the pitch, the equivalent of a little more than 5 full 90s. Part of that is due to an injury in October, but the rest is because only 3 of Luiz's 16 appearances have been starts, so a move is on the table, but there are complications. Ornstein reports that Juventus are willing to sell all loan with an obligation to buy, whilst City just want a straight loan deal. Unless one of the club's stances change, City may need to move on to other targets. For the time being, Arsenal don't look set to renew their interest in Luiz, and they'd likely also only want a loan move if anything. With substantial talk that Martin Zubimendi could be on the way in the summer, perhaps this ship has sailed. Pep sends Mcatee transfer message. Pep Guardiola hopes Manchester City can keep James Mcatee at the club long term. The City Academy graduate has been linked with the likes of Fulham and Newcastle in recent weeks after a lack of game time under Guardiola. Still, the 22-year-old scored City's final goal in Sunday's 6-0 thrashing of Ipswich to continue a recent run of first-team minutes. City have let a number of young players leave in pursuit of more regular football elsewhere, most notably Cole Palmer, who is now flourishing at Chelsea. However, Guardiola has expressed his desire to keep Mcatee at the club. Speaking after Sunday's win at Portman Road, Guardiola said, "He is such a good footballer and a lovely guy. Quite similar qualities as Phil Foden. It is not easy when you don't get many minutes for your confidence. Hopefully we can keep James for many years." The big victory over the Tractor Boys made it 6 games unbeaten for the Premier League champions, who are showing signs of turning things around after a dreadful season by their own lofty standards. While Guardiola has previously been keen to stress City had not yet restored former glories, he is hopeful the win at Ipswich is the start of something. "We are really pleased. We are back to doing things that define this team for the last 10 years. He added, "Really pleased for the 3 points and to climb into qualification for the Champions League for next season. That will be so tough. Much better. Maybe not our best, but closer with the consistency we have in our game. Most of them didn't happen in the previous games that we won. With the way we went without the ball, you cannot play in the short spaces. Everyone with the ball was clever, quicker, faster. Everyone is related. You cannot be quick, wise, and good if you are not connected defensively." Juventus eyeing Chelsea duo to replace Man City target. Juventus are reportedly keeping an eye on the market in case they end up selling Andrea Cambiaso to Manchester City. The citizens are expected to launch an onslaught for the 24-year-old, identifying as the right profile to replace Kyle Walker, who has requested a transfer and is expected to complete a transfer to Milan, according to Illinois by Conroe. Chelsea outcast Ben Chilwell is one of the options on the table. The 28-year-old has been offered to Juventus since his considered surplus to requirements at Stamford Bridge. The England international was considered amongst the finest left-backs in the Premier League in previous years, but has been dropped out of the Blues squad by Enzo Maresca, who opted to rely on Marc Cucurella and Renato Veiga on the left side of the backline. Therefore, Chelsea are looking to offload the former Leicester City star before the end of the month, so he's been proposed as an option for Juventus. Nevertheless, the report insists that this notion hasn't convinced the Serie A giants, who would prefer other profiles in case they were to chase a new left-back in the coming days. Chelsea's young defender Renato Veiga is reportedly attracting significant interest from Serie A clubs. According to Calcio Mercato, the Portugal international has been offered to Juventus on loan, as the Italian giants look to address a defensive injury crisis. While Veiga has shown flashes of promise, his limited game time at Stamford Bridge has raised questions about his immediate future in West London. Since arriving from Basel for €14 million last summer, Veiga has struggled to cement a place in Enzo Maresca's starting 11. Despite making 17 appearances across all competitions, the 21-year-old has logged just 176 minutes in the Premier League. His exclusion from the matchday squad against Fulham due to training performance has further fueled speculation about his role in the team. And that's the end of today's video. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss daily update from my channel.